All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Logical Heroes. I'm Mitch, aka Rollbacchus.
I'm disappointed. I mean, I'm Trevor. Sorry.
And today, we got a review for Thor, Love and Thunder. We just came back from the movies. It is Thursday that we're recording this, but we're not going to be able to get it until Friday, which also allows all of you guys to go and see it so that you guys can watch this. There's going to be little sprinkles of spoils that like throughout, but then the end we're really going to get into it. So I'd suggest just not watching this video. Come back later on after you watch the movie.
Yeah, watch it first.
Yeah, just so we don't spoil anything for you guys. I don't know. Before we get into this, if you want to drop a like and subscribe down below, it'd be greatly appreciated. We're going to be bringing you reviews every time big movies like this come out, especially Marvel and stuff like that. We're always there to watch it. We also got Discord, Twitter, and Instagram down below if you want to join those as well. And I apologize for my voice. I was at a concert last night, and it still hasn't recovered. So I just don't have that little hype. I hit puberty overnight. All right, so let's get right into this, though. Let's just start off with that this movie had legs. Me and Trevor already discussed it. It had legs. And I was actually pleasantly surprised because I was a little worried going into it. I didn't know if they were going to be able to replicate Ragnarok or even get near it. In my opinion, I don't think it did.
No, I don't think so. I think it got real close. The halfway it was close.
Yeah.
And it had potential where it could have went farther and gotten better than Thor Ragnarok, but the ending, the third act, is just where it really fell flat for us.
Taika Waititi, I like his Ragnarok. Ragnarok, actually, for me, a lot of people liked it. I was one of those people that were like on the fence about it when it first came out. When I saw it in theaters, I was like, I don't know if I like this movie. I don't know if I like the take of all the humor and stuff like that. And it only came to me kind of later on when I watched it like at home, probably once or twice. That's when I really started to understand and like that movie. So it took me a little while to get into this style of Thor.
It's because it was such a change in his character. We had this like little development where he's just like this like god, but he wasn't like this like the parody he is now, like this dumb jock god. He's like completely different now, which like parts of it work. It's funny, but like it also this is a personal opinion for me, it takes away from like the cool badass god stuff, you know? Like you're a god, but you're acting like a child. Like that's my takeaway from it. But yeah, the start of this movie was the jokes I think were hitting for the most part.
80% at least.
Yeah, like I was having a fun time. The action scenes were pretty cool. The cameos, like with the Guardians of the Galaxy, it wasn't just like just a goodbye, like a quick goodbye. Like it had like a little scene. It was nice and fun. Yeah. The story had potential. The start for Gore the God Butcher was actually pretty cool. Like it was like really sad and pretty dark for not what I was expecting for this movie and just for a Marvel movie. Like you see like heads get cut off, you see some blood. It was pretty emotional. Like a little girl died.
Blood.
Yeah, golden blood. So weird, gods. But yeah, like it had a really good, interesting start, and I liked Christian Bale. I liked most of the people for the most part. Yeah, I don't know. What do you want to say about
there's a lot of stuff that I want to get into. Obviously, we'll go through the characters and stuff like that, what we thought about them, and then that also bleed into kind of some spoiler stuff. I thought the vibrancy of the movie, the color and everything, the change, a lot more vibrant than other past Thors and stuff like that, from the actual armor and stuff that they wear to where the gods, that's not really a spoiler, I guess, because we saw it in the trailer, where they're all hanging out in, right, with Zeus and all of them. It's very bright, very vibrant. I really like the contrast, though, how he did it in such a way that everything's very bright and vibrant, and when you go to Gore, everything is all about being dark, right? So I like that little contrast there. That was really cool. The characters, the one thing that I was actually really nervous about as well with this movie is I was excited to see Natalie Portman be Mighty Thor, but I didn't want her to overtake Thor. I didn't want her to take away from his character, and I think they actually balanced it really well. I don't think it got overtaken. I thought they did her perfect. They went in the route that we can talk about in a little bit, that's from comics, so it was good. I think the balance was great. Comedy was good. Story, I think it kind of like started off really good, and then it kind of like, I don't know, Gore's story kind of took a
felt
back
like
seat.
it kind of got like it had like yeah, like you were saying, good legs, but
Yeah.
then it just kind of seemed like it got rushed and kind of lazy at the end, where they're just like, yeah, he's going to this place to do this.
Mm.
He's most powerful. This we need to get this and that, and go there. And it was just like really simple. I felt like in a lot of ways this movie was pretty safe,
Yeah.
especially for like a Marvel movie, and I don't think it added much besides the fact that there's a shitload of gods. Which if you read the comic, I was reading God the Butcher, the comic, when he actually kills all the gods.
Mm.
It's like a shitload of gods like that, like gods for the stupidest shit, like
Yeah.
dumpling, like the dumpling god. I didn't see in the comic, but it's stupid stuff.
Yo, that was just.
But that's what it was like in the comics. Like,
Yeah.
that's the god of hugs. You know,
Yeah.
like stupid little things like that. It's
Yeah.
like what? There's gods for everything apparently.
Yeah.
But like that was the biggest takeaway from the movie. Like, bit like Marvel universe wise was like there's more gods, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
But the way they did it just seemed really safe.
Yeah, I agree.
That's my opinion. Yeah.
It was, and the thing too was, is Guardians of the Galaxies is obviously in it. That was in the trailers as well. They were only in it for what, 10 minutes, and it was kind of just like the starting point for Thor, right? It was the transition part,
Yeah.
and they were just in there kind of just for a little bit of screen time to mix it up a little bit. I didn't think there were anything important whatsoever.
It was more because that's how they left off.
Yeah, right. They just had to connect it somehow. So that to me, that was fun. But what ended up happening through the movie is all of a sudden you started to see the movie and the pace became really, like what you said, safe. And when you play it safe for the whole movie, you start teetering a little bit. So around the middle point, I'm like, you guys got to start doing something soon, because you can't just rely on jokes. The action was good. To me, there wasn't almost enough action in these movies.
Yeah.
I thought like the battles between Thor and Gore should have been a little better. I would have wished a little more for it. And obviously a big scene with Zeus. That was a pretty cool scene and stuff like that we could talk to after we're done.
I wish he tried to fight more. He was just, but I guess he's a cocky, powerful god. You know, whatever.
Yeah. So it was just stuff like that. I would say 2/3 of the movie, I would give it like a good rating. It was good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was anything crazy. It doesn't reach Thor Ragnarok by any means for the first 2/3 of the movie. But I thought
a good, fun Marvel, like well done movie for the most part.
Yeah, I would say it was on the baseline of like Doctor Strange. Like I thought it was at that level. I didn't think it was great or like okay. I thought it was just straight good through the whole movie, and then we hit the end.
You know where they screwed up? Can we get more into spoilers?
Do you know what we're
now?
gonna do? We're gonna start it right now, because the thing is, the problems that we have with the movie have to do with a lot of spoilers and stuff like that. So if you guys for some reason didn't leave at the beginning, this is where the spoilers are gonna come in. We're done talking about all the good things that we liked about the movie. This is where we're gonna start getting into the stuff that we did not like at all, and this is where spoilers are gonna start coming into play. So if you're still here, it's your fault now. So
Get out of here.
Okay, let's start it.
Yeah. Okay. Why were all these kids a big part of the story? Like, why did he even need to kidnap the kids? You know?
Well,
like,
he kidnapped the kids to bring Thor. You need the hammer, right?
Okay, did he need to take the whole fucking village of kids and just like, I feel like they did that just so they could tie in that scene that we hated at the end where they're like, hey kids, you all get the power of Thor, and then we saw fucking Disney Channel kids going off with god powers, but not even like
That was bad.
Well, not even a cool, like, interesting, like, badass way. It was just like a bunch of mayhem in the dark. You just see yellow blasts going everywhere. You see these shadows. That's the thing with Marvel. Like, they keep doing these like robots, a bunch of like they always have this like one character that they're easy to kill off that they can just CGI a bunch of, which like it works when you have the main interesting superheroes doing the fighting in like interesting ways. But when you just like you're like, okay, we could have used this whole scene of more of Thor and Mighty Thor fighting against Gore, but no, let's make it to these kids that we have no connection to, and just like just do
was
some
so
goofy
fucking
shit,
hokey.
make it into like this comedy thing, and like all I'm thinking is about is how DC did this with Shazam. When Shazam, all the kids got the powers. It's the same thing, but lazy, like more lazy. And
It was
I just
hokey as fuck.
that's really what started to like lose us. It just made no sense,
But the thing is too that they really messed up with, because I don't understand that scene at all. I really don't. I was like, you have a great scene you could do with the mighty. You knew she was coming. The mighty Thor was going to be coming, so you knew she was going to be there. You have Thor fighting Gore, and it's like you got like a masterpiece of a fight about to come and happen. Let's let the kids take it over, and when we're filming it, let's cut in and out of the kids fighting while Thor gets his ass handed to him. Because the problem with that is like, let's just say that I liked it somehow, that idea. Like I to me, whoever allowed that idea to make it onto the film is just, I don't even understand. It took away from everything that was happening with Thor and Gore. I couldn't even care less what was happening.
Were you trying to scare us with this the freaking god butcher, and he's terrifying. He's killing all these gods, and as he's going hard against like trying to kill our main character Thor and Mighty Thor, you got the kids sharing the screen time and doing this goofy scene. Like, it just wasn't needed. If you're gonna use them as the bait, then keep them as the bait. They don't need to be the heroes. Let the heroes be the heroes. That's where I'm just like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah. I don't know what allowed that, who allowed that, or thought it was a good idea. I think they were going for humor, and it missed and took away the whole end fighting scene for me. Like, I couldn't get into the movie until sorry, I just burped there. until Gore went through into what was it called?
Shadow Realm?
It wasn't the Shadow Realm. It was where he gets his wish, right?
Oh, I don't know, trippy portal.
Sure. So he gets over there, and like that's when my brain came back in. After that, because
that was cool.
Yeah, that was cool. Let's not get into that right there though. But like it literally took away the biggest scene, the pivotal scene of the movie, and it's like I didn't care because you guys took it away with that scene. That, like, to me, I just couldn't understand while sitting there, and I was so confused why you would rather have that than, like, let's say an amazing fight between Gore, Mighty Thor, and Thor, and let's give half the screen time to a bunch of kids that I guess it was supposed to be funny. I didn't find it funny. I thought it took away the biggest scene of the movie, and it literally flattened everything for me. Now, obviously, we're going to get into this as well. We all know, if you're still here, that the Mighty Thor dies. Sad ending, sure. I have a complaint that you kind of pointed out, and it makes so much sense. I don't care anymore when someone dies, because nothing happens, right? So the thing is that, like, I'll explain how, like, what I actually mean here. So we have Thor's best friend, right, get smashed by Zeus.
I was like, shit, no.
Yeah, right? And it was like, I was like sitting there, I'm like, are you kidding me? Right? Like, why would this be allowed to happen? I can't believe they did this. What a crazy twist. Oh, he's not dead.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we have kind of a different scenario where when she dies, she evaporates into the air, and it's like, holy shit, she's actually dead. And it's like,
she's a god.
And then, yeah, and it's just like, fuck, like, that's a really heavy scene. Why would you make an end credit for her to come back and be like, I'm in Valhalla now? Because now it's just like, now it's, you're
when are they
again.
when are they ever gonna bring that back though? That's the thing. Like, I just don't see it coming back anytime soon. So it just feels like they just did that, I don't know, just so people are like, don't worry, she's still alive. But then like you're saying, it takes away from the emotional
The impact of the death is gone. Because the thing is when that character just comes back on screen at the end, oh, she's still here. Like, I didn't get you don't get the feeling of, oh my god, I'm so glad she's back. No, you get the feeling of, so that moment that I was actually upset about meant literally nothing. That's a dead moment now. Like, that moment means less because you showed that.
Zeus, though, even Zeus, I was like,
oh yeah, 100%.
Thor got so mad that he lost another person close to him that he literally took Zeus's weapon and killed Zeus. But then later on, you see end credits. spoiler alert, he's still alive. It's just like, okay, so the only person that actually truly died in this
Gore.
movie was Gore.
And Mighty Thor, but
And
Mighty Thor is dead.
about the Gore stuff though, like the story, how it all ended, and like the way they wrapped it up was also lazy, sloppy, and I just don't get. I feel like there's 100 more things they could have done
Yeah.
that could have turned out better, and like, so let's kind of get into it. So like, I thought the relationship with Jane and Thor, I thought it was cute, and I thought
I
they
did
did
too.
a good job bringing the relationship back.
Yeah.
Out of, like, because they just abandoned it all of a sudden, and then to bring it back like this after years and do a well job with their chemistry and everything, I was surprised. I
Yeah,
really
so was
liked
I.
it. And then so you're kind of seeing the ending, and I looked up the comics before where she has cancer, and every time she
Yeah.
becomes Thor, she's like in the movie, she's getting worse. But so what happens is she dies, so Thor loses another loved one, and the way that they make it like, hey, Thor's struggling to find out who he was, is they kill off his loved one, the only girl he's ever loved, and then they say, hey, why don't you become the new uncle stepfather
Yeah.
of Gore's now freaking risen from the dead daughter that's apparently has god powers where they didn't show us before that Gore had powers like that. So
Mm.
it's like, why does she randomly have powers all of a sudden with purple lasers, and now she has
I'm confused on that.
Stormbreaker, and just the way they wrapped it up, they're like, oh, I found myself. I lost my love partner, and now I have a kid that's no relation to me. She's my problem. She doesn't really seem to like me. We have no connection to her because we didn't see her at all the entire movie
Yeah.
because she was dead. And they're like, yeah, that's love, and he's thunder, and this is love and thunder. And they're like, Thor will return. And I'm just like, do I really need to see it return? Because the story you guys set up, to me, I'm not interested. And that's just how I personally feel. And I feel like they had moments, lots of chances to go other routes and make this
Yes.
into a solid Marvel movie. And I don't think we're complaining. I think we have the rights for this stuff. I don't like when people say, oh, not every movie is going to be Endgame movie. Like,
It's like,
come
but
on,
it's
guys.
a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
The level that they have left this gigantic MCU at, right? When Phase 3 was done, take away Endgame and Infinity War. You were having top tier movies all the way through behind that.
That's what I'm saying. Those weren't even the best. People keep saying Endgame. Take away all the movies before and just watch Endgame. It's not the best movie, but it's so amazing because of the buildup and the stories they made, right? But now it feels like they're just focusing on past stuff and bringing up past, and then these new characters aren't really having much going for them, and they're not really that likable, or it's just weird. They can't even work standalone, so I can't imagine them being on a group. I don't even care for anyone right now.
No,
you know?
I agree. And to me, I'm confused though. What did I miss? Does Gore have powers before he gets the curse from the sword?
I don't. They didn't explain that in the. I don't know about.
Because I was confused about his daughter. Because I'm sitting there, I'm like, does she have powers or did she get powers? I was confused on the whole eye shooting thing and her being able.
That's laser. How many times are we going to see laser eyes? You made it purple, so you're different. I don't like.
But where
I
did
don't
she get it
it
from? Where did she?
I don't
get
know.
it from?
Why is she a god? Did the guy when they brought her back to life? Did they give her more gifts? It makes no. It just wasn't explained, and it just felt rushed at the end. And it's just like, I feel like they had, like, 80% of the movie written, and they're like, yeah, this is good, and then time limit was coming. They're like, oh
Kevin
shit,
Feige comes in. We got to do this.
we need to get the ending.
No.
Wait, you didn't add in any kids? I told you we need a 10-minute scene with kids. Try and figure that out. And they're like, oh fuck. Well, I guess we'll put it in with the ending.
Yeah.
That's just how it felt. Like, if you watch the start of this movie, I think you're gonna have a really fun time.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have high hopes, and you're just gonna enjoy it. You're gonna be like, oh,
It's a
Marvel.
good, solid. It's like, I wouldn't say it's great. I wouldn't go that far. It's not great. It's not Ragnarok by any means. It didn't hit the mark. But as what we've seen so far with Phase 4, I would say that it's like top 4, top 3. top 3, top 4? Because obviously you're gonna have what?
I'm so confused. I can't even rank Phase 4 because it's just so.
I know.
So disappointing right now.
I know, but the thing is too is also like the best part of in my opinion, of the end of the movie was when Korg was showing off his boyfriend when they're about to put their hands.
Beautiful. That was like
the mustache was awesome.
That was hilarious. I just love how that whole species is like. I guess they're not even. It wouldn't be gay if all your species is just male. It's like, and they're not even having sex. The way the way they describe it is they sit by like a volcano, they hold hands, and then like a new one version of
they put it in the lava. They put it in the lava and their hands like I guess break off and then becomes a little
hilarious. Corgi. And they just look so happy when they're sitting there too. It's like okay.
And it's just the mustache. The mustache was the best thing. I died when they showed that. But no, that's a lot of what we're going to talk about. Also, what do you think of Hercules?
I thought it was cool because Hercules is sick god. And it's so sick because they have him a lot in the comics. They do the Greek god shit a lot more in Marvel comics. Yeah. So it's cool that they're finally now a part of it. Like I was saying, that was the biggest risk they went this movie, is just that showing that there's more gods. But I just don't know how that's gonna work or how people are gonna care. And is Hercules just after Thor? Because Zeus kind of seemed like he was pissed over all humans and shit, and it's just like they need to fierce again. So go down and cause shit, even though you're supposed to be. I'm confused in the comics. I don't know if he's much of a good guy or not.
I was confused about Zeus because this is the thing. Zeus, I've read. That's one storyline I've read with Thor. I understood where they were going with when it comes to Zeus, right? They're going to make him kind of a funny guy, kind of like older, like run down kind of thing, doesn't really give a shit about anything anymore. So I knew in the route there what they were going with. But Zeus also has been written as like think of Odin, right? Or like a really badass Odin. So to make him fun, like just laughable, like you're laughing at him, not with him. And
I thought they were gonna make him somewhat intimidating.
No, he's not at all.
No,
like zero. So that's the problem, though. And then all of a sudden you make Hercules, which is in the comics as well. He is in there, but to make him the serious one, and like Zeus is just the fat old guy that just doesn't really do anything anymore. I'm just like, I think it would have been a lot cooler for them to use Zeus, but not the Zeus that they have in the movie.
Yeah, especially because they always like would emphasize on how badass Odin is in the Marvels, but we never really got to see him do much.
No.
So if them to take Zeus and make him like, hey, I'm the new badass, like you guys haven't seen us yet. We're fucking. That would have been cool, but he was a full on like, which it was funny.
Yes.
But when it's that much comedy, it just like. We're dealing with gods, you know? I'm supposed to be, like, intimidated and I want to worship you and be... Like, I get what you're going, but you should have, like, a mix. But they're just, like, full on, like, okay, joke. And then it just... You lose... You just don't feel connected to it, you know?
Yeah. No, I totally agree. But let's do one more little thought here before we give our ratings and our last thoughts. Would you want to see Taika Waititi, oh, Jesus Christ, trying to pronounce that every time I say his name. Would you want him to make the next Thor?
I wouldn't mind it just because I feel like it would flow nice, but I would like him to take more risks and go out of his comfort zone and try and like not just make it a full-on joke. Can we make it... I miss the days when Marvel was like serious. Like we dealt with Iron Man, where he literally like fought addiction. He was becoming an alcoholic. He was dealing with PTSD. Like there were serious consequences, and you felt for the characters. And then when they made the jokes, you're like, they're just hiding behind their pain, and they're just as scared. Yeah, they're just scared of everyone else, but they're doing their best. They're the heroes, and that's their job. But now it's just like, okay, so are the heroes just supposed to be comedians?
Yeah, they're just stupid and dumb. Like and I totally agree with you on that. That's a great way to put it, that they actually went through problems. And the thing was, they blended humor in very well, right? All the characters had blended in humor throughout the MCU movies, phase 1, 2, and 3. And now we're more of in a sense of where, like this movie, in my opinion, I don't want him to do the next Thor movie, because the reason why is I thought Ragnarok was a really crazy change. Like that was a risk and a half doing what they did. Like, I don't think they actually went in probably thinking like, is this is gonna work 100%. Like, I don't think they did. We're gonna change them, make them really funny, make them really dopey and stuff like that. See how it kind of goes. What could happen? It's probably gonna be better than Dark World, right? So it's like, hopefully it works, and it did. It got great ratings. Everyone loved it. I fell in love with it after. So you go from that to this, though. It is not an uphill. It is a downhill.
For sure.
What happens? This is how I just look at it. Why would I want to see something that's going to get worse than this? And the whole humor thing is not going to change.
You know how I see it?
That's why he's in it.
I see it as like, the more Marvel complicated and out there it gets, it should get more grounded and more serious on the other. Because if it's just like wacky craziness and we're trying to get our head around, and then it's just a joke, it's just like laughable. It's gonna become Fast and Furious, where it's just like a joke,
Yeah.
Where you need to have these crazy theories and crazy magic and all this messed up stuff, but like have like a good story and make it like, I don't know, just try a little bit harder. I feel like they're getting goofier and goofier.
No, I totally agree. And to me, it's just like you're losing like audience, aka me, you, with all this. Like, I can't take anything seriously. Yes, there were some moments in this movie where there was like you stop and you watch and you think, you don't laugh, but the next 30 minutes is just laughing. And they also do the problem where they take away from serious moments with humor, and it's just like and that's when it doesn't hit. When it doesn't hit, and that's what happened with the kids, and it destroys massive moments in movies. So for me, it's a nay with him coming back for the next one. I don't know how they're going to change him from not being funny, though. How are you going to go back to the original Thor, where he was actually like kind of like a god, right? And you
just want to see how Marvel's going to intertwine this and how they're going to bring in this Thor's daughter and be like, yeah, she's part of it now. You fall in love with her. How about no? I did not like her. Like, I just didn't get that part at all.
No, either did I.
Why is he a father of someone he just met, killed all, trying to murder them? Like, it just makes no sense.
No,
if
I
Jane
agree.
was there and they're like, because a second I'm like, oh, Jane might survive, and they're like, let's adopt it. I'm like, it's still weird, but better.
Yeah.
But then she dies, and he's just like, yeah, I'll watch the kid. That's my purpose. Like, what the fuck?
I know.
Okay, let's give it a rating.
All
6
right.
out of 10 for me.
I'm going 6 out of 10. I thought from 2/3 of the movie, the first 2/3, I would give it a 7, a solid 7. I thought it was good, and then the end was just bad. Like, at the end, the last 1/3 of it, I would give it a 5 out of 10. I did not like it. I could even go down to 4, but I'll keep it at a 5. So I'll say it's a 6 out of 10 for me for the whole entire movie. I think there's a lot of good things about it, but I also think there's a lot of things that I can't even understand why they did it.
And I'm sure a lot of people will love this movie.
Yes.
No doubt. But I also feel like a lot of people like us are starting to get out of the Marvel, hype. And we're so used to, there's so many superhero movies now. And we've seen what's a good one, and we've seen what's okay one, and we've seen what's bad.
Yeah.
So the more it goes out, you should only be getting better, or at least maintaining the top,
and they haven't.
notch stuff. But it really hasn't. This Phase 4, even like the TV shows, like everything just has been really disappointing, and it's like it is losing us. I remember, and it's not an age thing. It's not because we're getting older. I just remember feeling so giddy and like being like, oh my, they did that oh my god, what a sick twist. Like now I'm just like, okay, I saw that coming. Really, you're doing that? Like, it's just like I don't know. I'm not having as much fun as I
used to. 100%. And it's like the stories don't leave us either, right? We read the comics and stuff back in the day when these first started coming out, right? We weren't kids that just like, oh, let's get into comics. No, we got into comics because of Iron Man in 2008. That's why we got into stuff like that, was because of the MCU. And now it's like we have the same information, but we don't have the same movies anymore. So it's just like, I don't know. To me, it's like this has to start getting better, especially for things like Thor, for like Doctor Strange. Not saying these movies were bad or anything like that. Like I actually liked like the new Spider-Man. But the problem is,
the best ones
recently by a mile. But the issue is you can't miss with characters like these, because these are the ones that you can't let these ones down, because you don't know how the new ones are going to do, right? The Shang-Chi, the sadly Black Widow movie, which I think was horribly handled, all the Eternals, all crap. But you're allowed to take risks with the new characters. Actually, Shang-Chi, I would give it this like the same area as this Thor movie, to be honest. Same area. But those movies are the risks, right? They're the new characters. We got to see what kind of works, shuffle things around. These characters that have been built already and have a great foundation for the last 10 years to 12 years. Holy shit. 14 years. Holy shit. So all these characters that are grounded with the foundation that they have, that we've been going with this whole entire journey, you can't screw these ones up. These are the ones that you just can't miss. And when you do, now you have one less leg.
I have a great comparison I just thought of. Until this phase, it's felt like Game of Thrones, and now this feels like the last season of Game of Thrones. It's phase 4.
100%.
It just feels like they're getting lazy. People want out. They're over. The directors, the writers, the actors are like, I want to move on, get out of these characters. We lost the original crew. They're trying to bring in these new people. Some of them are new time actors, which is okay. But it's just like, I don't know. Are we trying to make enjoyable characters that are really intriguing that can last multiple movies, or are we just trying to like bring inclusion and get a younger crowd? It's just like, I don't know. It's like, can we focus on making good things? But that's just where I stand. I'm just really disappointed. I loved a lot of this movie, but it really, really dropped the ball.
100%. All right, we've been talking about this long enough. I think we got our points across. I'd still say go watch the movie. I think it's worth it for a weekend to go and just go and see it. Right? Bring a friend, your girlfriend, whatever, your wife, kids. It's a fun time.
And I'm sure if you're not this emotional like it about us with Marvel, you just like see the odd one or once in a while, I'm sure you're gonna have fun. But I'm just like, I care about these characters so much, and we've seen what makes good superhero movies, and Marvel is an MCU, so what happens in one movie connects to the rest of the movie. So if one movie has a bad, shitty story, we're stuck with that, and they have to create off of that. So that's where I think the MCU is just starting to kind of hit a wall, and DC is starting to figure out, hey, we can do these standalone ones and make good ones, Batman at least. But I don't know. I'm starting to think like let's just do some solo movies again. I miss just Iron Man and all that before it got all complicated.
No, I know.
You know?
Yeah, go back to scrap it all and go back to the beginning. But all right, guys, before we leave today, if you could drop a like and subscribe down below, it'd be greatly appreciated. We're bringing new content almost every day of the week, and we also got Discord, Twitter, and Instagram down below for you guys to join. And until next time, guys, see you later.